Dear YouTubers, I am back. Welcome to this video. My name is Christinajunge. I'm a love and leadership mentor, and I would like to talk today about narcissistic relationships or a narcissistic mother, the role of anger, of sadness, and of jealousy, which could come up at the moment you are dealing with these narcissistic people. I want to tell you a short story. One of my subscribers, she was telling the story that her mom was miserable, so she went and attended her while she was already working her inner child and trying to detach from her approval or disapproval. And when she went to attend to her, the mother would feel a lot of self-pity and seemed to be very sad and manipulative and making her feel bad. So it had her being thrown back into old states of, let's say, consciousness or emotional states. And it didn't really help her, and the mother was taken care of. And she was talking about another point, which is the mother at that moment told her how nicely and enjoyable it was when the subscriber's sister or sibling was around her, and how she enjoyed that. And this is, excuse me, so insane to a certain, degree, that I wanted to talk about the feelings of jealousy which came up in her when she said it stung into her heart, the feeling of, this hurt of jealousy, of realizing that there was somebody else this mother was attending to, and this person hadn't even attended her, the narcissistic mother, as much as this victimized person had done all her life long. And how those dynamics fit into each other: sadness, loneliness, anger, and jealousy, and the feeling of loss and grief. So this is all a little bit interconnected. Let's get into it. The idea of getting out of those dynamics, and on one hand feeling the jealousy, and on the other hand there was coming up this anger in the relationship at the moment when she had taken her steps to get out of the relationship, to get better, to get in contact with herself, to love herself, and to detach from the mother's love giving, which she never did, pretending to give her love, pretending to approve of her, pretending to finally, like her, and that she's finally useful for her, and that she finally approves of her. And all this would never really happen, and she would fall back into her patterns of being completely dependent on her feeling valuable, worthy, loved, lovable, when only the mother would finally, or if only the mother would finally say it. And you can put this into any kind of narcissistic relationship, also with a partner, also with the father. Let's get into the dynamics of jealousy for a moment. Jealousy, I want to talk about this when Brianna Wiest, I don't know how to pronounce her name, I think this is correct. The Mountain is You, she talks a lot about self-sabotaging. And she's talking about jealousy as, now look at this, as a sadness and self-dissatisfaction, which is then also combined with the anger that the people you are then jealous of, in this case of a sibling, which is put in front of you like the preferred one, like, look, this one makes me happy, this one is the one who has achieved, this one is the one who's likable, right? And the anger which comes up because, this is how Brianna describes it, because they pursue their goals, their achievements, and what they want in life, or what I want. So they are giving themselves what they need. They are basically pursuing their needs and their own satisfaction, right? They are giving this love to themselves. They are feeling worthy and valuable to receive this. And this is a real point for feeling the victim, or being the one who needs to be filled up by a narcissistic person who will never give you that love, who feeds off you being always a little bit under them, being always in this victim position, that they don't feel that sense of victimness, although they do feel it. Otherwise, they wouldn't behave so poorly, right? And how Brianna connects with jealousy, the sadness. I mean, was really breaking news for me. The self-dissatisfaction and the anger towards myself, that I haven't pursued my goals, that I haven't pursued to be treated with this love, And this is very interesting. I want to talk about the sadness for a moment. The sadness which must come out in a relationship where somebody constantly, let's say, baits you with or promises you, or the relationship in itself has this quality that it should be promising to give you love in a partnership or in a parental relationship. You should expect from this person that this person would love you, would care for you, would respect you, would, be a person of confidence, of trust, and it is not. So what children of narcissistic parents, or what narcissistic partnerships cause in the person who is the chosen victim, is that they have to pass through a process of really deep grief once they notice what is going on, once they realize in this eternal asking for approval, eternal asking for love, for recognition, for finally being seen in my beautiful identity, in my beauty, in the love I've been giving to you, in everything I've been feeding into you. Just be it that I figured that you need that, be it that I figured that I was the chosen one to do this, because you were asking this of me, or because you made me feel that I'm not enough. So I always felt compelled to prove to you constantly that I am good, that I am enough, that I am the one who is giving love to you. So once I realize, when I'm getting out of those dynamics and occupying myself with my inner child, and once I'm seeing where I'm standing, and once I'm noticing that you will never be the person who's gonna give love to me, who's gonna cherish me, who's gonna feed into me, who's gonna adore me, This is a moment of great deception. This is a moment where I have to go through a grieving process, through a mourning process, where I have to realize I was asking from, when I put it that way, like from a dead person, Many times we use grief in connection with a deceased people, but at this moment, since they are emotionally dead, they're not dead because they use negative emotions and manipulation and baiting to get us. But for like in terms of a healthy interaction, a healthy relationship, we need to realize that this person was dead in terms of being able to give me love, to give me respect, to be there for me, right? So we need to pass through this moment of sadness. We need to pass through these moments of detachment from the expectations we're having towards those people, right? Towards the narcissistic person. And this encloses, because of the narcissistic relationship, because of this relationship, that there is one chosen victim, and there's often, it belongs to it, be it a person or be it just the comparison of behaviors, that the narcissistic person chooses this one person who they put on this pedestal to say, this is the better version, and this is how I am, this is how we are the same, this is the level on which I am, and you look at you, you're like crawling, around down there, and you never live up to what I need from you, and how I need you to be. So this is a great deal of sadness which we have encountered throughout our upbringing or throughout our relationships, and the feelings of jealousy, the feelings of this something we have lost and we cannot generate, and we want this from this person. This is such a lost space, let's put it like this. Though it's valid that it is there, that you feel it. You need to get into this, like step into this emotion to understand that it is there, that there is something inside of you which still says, I want this, what you don't want to give to me, and I can't generate it. So I want to be the person, who's good, I still want to be the person who is good, who is recognized by you, who is the one you would be choosing. And you will be realizing that you are never going to be this person, and this is a process of grief. This is a process of me having to get into the feeling at the moment they are coming up. I really recommend you to do this. At the moment this feelings of jealousy or of anger or of abandonment, of loneliness, of sadness, each time they come up, you know me for a while now, but each time they come up, just stay for a moment. Stay knowing that you are the only person who can feed into you, who can love yourself, who can value yourself, who can understand all the beautiful traits which only you have in this world and in this life, and to start now loving yourself. Don't you ever compare yourself to somebody, and less to somebody and even less to somebody a narcissistic person wants to put into your face, just to make you understand, if you do this, I will love you, which is a total feed off, pick behavior, to have you again finally under her, have you again finally asking for love, scratching in the balcony door, the poodle, do you remember, and saying, please give me love, let me in, finally love me, and she will not do it, or he will not do it. Now, when you are, the story of this woman, catering to a narcissistic mother who is in need, but who has everything, but who calls her in to say, I need you to this and that, and who's just dwelling in her self-pity, This woman gets in there, feels the jealousy while the mother is telling the story of how the sibling, is so much better, and how much enjoyable it is when the sibling comes or calls, while the sibling doesn't put so much effort in there, which is only a way of making you understand that you are not enough, that you will never live up to this, and that you need to put everything. It's like a real energy, sucker, like this vampire thing, that she needs of this, is really in need of this energy that you put into her or give to her, of needing her, She's so miserable that she needs you to need her, and you need her to want you or to like you. This is so twisted. Do you get the dynamics? So going through a healthy process of sadness, of grief, of detaching from those dynamics and realizing how much damage they have caused caused inside of you, is a really, really good process. And then we're coming to this point of anger. Anger of itself can be a way of saying, hold on, you hold back here, there's something you want from me, I'm not going to give to you, or you crossed my boundaries, It has a healthy inner motivation of keeping things or people at a certain distance, or having the serving a dynamic of understanding there is something, which isn't right. Okay? And now I'm telling you, your anger is probably an anger directed towards yourself, that you never can be enough, or it's hopefully a healthy anger directed towards this narcissistic mother. But most likely, you're going to direct any anger where you would demasquerate a dynamic which has been going on for possibly a long time, if it is in a partnership or in a mother-daughter or the mother-son relationship. And you have to demasquerate a behavior which has been very unjustly put onto you, and it is totally normal to feel angry. It is totally normal, and it is a process of getting independent, of cutting ties, of detaching from the dynamics, if you don't get stuck inside of the feelings of anger. And again, if we say there is a triangle of jealousy, anger, and sadness, I'll tell you another thing. Under this anger, which is good and healthy and is good to live for a while, you can stay there. You can get into it. You can stay with yourself at the moment it comes up. You can listen inside of yourself. You can see what it wants to reveal to you, Anger can also be on top of feelings of abandonment, and just be there to see what comes up inside of this relationship you have with this person, or where this anger or the sadness or the jealousy first occurred, where you were coined on the emotion. You want to go there. This is not easy, but it's possible to do, and it is necessary to do, to enter into those dynamics and to see where the absolute origin of those feelings are. Okay? Once you understand what the anger means to you, why it is there, what it is there for, you might might find under the anger very much rather delicate feelings of sadness, of loneliness, of all of this disapproval, of dissatisfaction, of resentment, possibly, many more delicate feelings are under these strong feelings where I get into this no, you can't do this with me, don't do this any longer. And this is when we get into the healing processes. And this is like a healthy way of entering it. Also, when jealousy comes up, understand that it is something, yes, you want, but there's a sadness in jealousy of I can't reach it. And this is so unhealthy, right? And if you understand that you're the only one in charge of your own emotions and of trying to get what you want and need, which is much work when you have grown up in relationships which haven't equipped you for a healthy attachment style, right? Or if you are in a narcissistic partnership, where these dynamics play out and where you see you don't get from your partner what you wish for. It is good to get into it, to see how it really feels, and not to use jealousy to have it stand there like this and only until there, and for me to protect myself again from being confronted with those feelings, and to protect myself from having to assume responsibility for my own well-being, for my self-love, for my self-esteem, for my self-confidence. This is a much more difficult way than saying you did, than saying I'm angry. Even though it's a good part in between, you have to go. Okay, and it's also, let's say, a more difficult and a more responsible part, having to take care of yourself, than having to go, than going through the sadness process and dwelling almost like noble in my depression and in my loneliness and in my abandonment, which is a healthy process to step in. But to get out of it, to explore it, to be there and to understand this is not who I am, right? This is about what I have to say today about anger, jealousy, and sadness, how to stay with yourself, how to get into those feelings, to not stay in there, how to set still boundaries to those people, to not get intertwined into weird dynamics of these people making you feel guilty for you not caring for them. It's now your task to care for yourself. It's now your task to go and get into recuperation, to go into restoration of yourself, of your self-esteem, of your self-identity, of your self-love, not any longer being dependent on them. And you will be surprised how those relationships will change, possibly, depending on how, let's say, I always call this petrified they are, but you will notice it in other relationships, that people will come now to you and love the way you are and recognize the way you are and see this new self inside of you, and which will make you be able to live a completely new identity and a completely new cycle of relationships where you see that people are coming to you and that you are attracting people who are on the same level, on the same also consciousness level, where you transport yourself to while you practice self-love, self-esteem, self-care, changing your self-image, changing your subconscious of not being able to, to reach certain degrees of happiness. And while you do this, and while this path stays all obscure to you, you can manifest that. You can manifest that you are going to be this one who you want to be and who you are going to be. And it will be there and will be shown to you in the relationships. And always understand, this is totally important, that our relationships also with a narcissistic person, and although we were not aware of it and we couldn't change it at the moment they generated, if it was like a childhood relationship, and also when if we fell into a narcissistic partnership, it is not your fault that it happened, but it is what you attracted. And if you get this, that we attract who we are essentially in our how we feel with ourselves, then we understand that it is our responsibility to construct, to manifest, to grow this self-love, self-esteem, and to use our imagination and our cognition to influence our feelings by thinking good, feeling good, and going there. It's not only thinking good, you need to have it sucked down to feeling good, and staying inside of this where you are growing this feeling good with yourself and with your environment and with what you expect from people and from your life and from how it goes and from your projects. Expecting off or from, like that. Okay? So you will always see mirrored in all your relationships. They might stay the way they are, and they might try, and they will change too. You will see at the moment they notice you are no longer allowing them to. But while you change, there will be people who will be mirroring this to you, like not so important people, maybe people at your work, people at the bakery, people at your club where you go sporting, or wherever you are where there's not so tight relationships, and they will mirror this back to you, that you are different, that you are now I think I talked about this on this channel before. When I was studying self-love and at my work, I was working in psychiatry, I was a director of a psychiatric center, and people would come up and they would look into my eyes and they say, "You're becoming every day more beautiful." I mean, it was not like a psychotic, experience or something like this, but they would just look into my eyes, and I was practicing self-love, and telling myself that I'm beautiful and stuff like this. And it was so curious, and just expect this to happen, because I get those clients and they're telling me all innocent, those stories, how people reflect this back to them. And I'm saying, this is you. This is because of this change, because they're all treating me different, They don't get the connection. And the connection, you will see it's going to be there. Okay? Dare to manifest. Dare to create where you want to be. Dare to dream. Dare to live up. Dare to expect that it's going to be good. And feel how this feels. Feel how self-love feels. Feel how visualizing your projects feels. What I did. I was taping voicemails. On my cell phone, and I'm listening to this. First I write it out. I script it. Not too long, or some things were pretty long. Sometimes I have like 15 minutes tapes. And it works great for me, to remind myself all the time on where I want to get and who I want to become. Just write it out, and then you listen to it again, and then you feel it, let it suck down, and don't get stressed out anymore over it, Keep on feeling that it's there, and you will be there. Trust me. Try it with small things. I was once, when I was in the process, I was manifesting somebody bringing me flowers, and then I was really it was like 5 meters, I had this idea, and I was finding this rose, This person didn't bring me flowers, but it worked. It was really beautiful, this rose. So if you want to subscribe to my channel, I'm very happy to have you. If you're interested in my coaching programs, you can write to christina@christinajunge.com and I can see if we can work together. Thank you for listening. God bless you. Go into prayer, go where you find peace, go also with this higher being, if you can call it God, beautiful. If you call it the higher spirit, beautiful. For me, it's God, it's this loving God who wants us to thrive, who wants us to flower. And even if we go through those dark valleys, God is there with us because we have to learn something, we have to resolve something. This is not heaven yet, but we have this strong being, this strong God who is like struggling with us at our side for us to become better every day. This is the freedom we're having. God bless you, folks. Ciao.